Welcome everyone, welcome to this Stewarding Guidelines and Rules Modification for Season 4 in the PRL. My name is Arnaud and I'm my director and the Chief Road Steward. At PRL, our mission is to provide fun, fair, and competitive racing for everyone. And for the stewarding team, so for the stewards, it means transparency. So you can expect transparency from us. You can always reach out to me or to my teammates to assess or to have more details on incidents that you were involved in. It's always a pleasure to exchange. Of course, we have a process and I'm not alone to determine if there's a penalty or not, but I can explain what happened. So here I'm showing my my teammates, my stewards teammates. So of course we are, most of us are running for having our own team. So that's why it's displayed here. Of course, many of those drivers have been there for the past few seasons, so I thank them for that. And of course, if driver teammate, so for example, GR that runs for SRTE is involved in an incident or has a teammate involved, since we know which team he's running for, he will not add any comments on the discussion around the incidents and will not vote as well. So kind of working out any bias that we can have as much as possible. In regards of rules change, few things. Well, one thing, incident points. So the past structure was 13x, you get a drive through, and 17x, you were disqualified. In sim, this time we have changed the rules so that you get a drive through to every 5x following the first 13. So at 18 you would get another one, and and as long as the race goes, if you keep doing incidents, then it's gonna rack up. But there's no more DSQs from incident limits. A few changes in the race structure. So our schedule is pretty clear. Two things. First, on Mondays and Thursdays, it is a 60-minute race instead of a 40-minute race. For example, in the GT3 series. It's multi-class, so we thought that it could be very interesting. We're going to adjust fuel so that people have to make at least one stop, but there's going to be a lot of strategy involved, so I think we're going to you guys going to be able to put on a good show in these two series. And lastly, and that's true for all series, we have added a warm-up session between Q and the race of 5 minutes, so that Race Spot, our broadcaster, can display and comment the pole sitter lap, fastest lap, of course. So that's a small addition. Another thing in the works for next season is the PRL driver's license. So the idea comes from what the FIA does in Formula 1, same kind of structure. Is just to try to find some fairness in the penalty system, since we are only giving out championship points penalties. It matters a lot for front runners, but not so much for guys that are maybe in the bottom split. So we're trying to work around that, have a second system, so that's, you know, either front runner or a bottom split driver would have some kind of same opportunity to get points back or lose some points if not not driving well. So as for what we're gonna do this week or this season, we're gonna build up the logistics, the rules structure. If you have any experience in this matter, please share it with me, and I will be thrilled to have somebody challenge my thoughts on that. And of course, we're gonna run some simulations. So, what would have happened if we had implemented these rules this season? So try to balance it out. For the past few seasons, rain has been around. So of course, just a quick reminder here that you have to maintain control of your car in any circumstances. So of course, rain is not an excuse for poor driving. You have to practice, and you have to account for puddles, visibility, and other problems that rain brings. Something on Rule 9, no change here. In PRL, we are separating the zones, the braking zone, at the turn-in point. So by rule, if you're side by side on the turn-in, you have to leave each other space. But if at the turn-in point you are not aligned with, so front tires are not aligned with rear tires, so there's not enough overlap, then the car at the back should not make a collision, but the car in front is not entitled to give you any space if at the turning point you had no overlap. Right? So be careful around that. That's the simplest incidents, but that's the most occurring one, so take care around the track. So of course, a couple of things regarding recovering from incidents. So that's something, again, that's very easy for drivers to forget while they are racing. And of course, we are racing in a sim, so there is no danger. But when you are in an accident, we are expecting you to hold the brakes, to slow down the car, as you would in real life. Regain control of your car, and then look at the gaps and rejoin parallel to the racing line or parallel to the racetrack instead of perpendicularly for safety reasons, of course. And since those happens at very low speeds while you're trying to rejoin, you have full control, so take a deep breath and then try to rejoin without killing anybody else. As for stewarding, no change here. So it's a passive stewarding system. So you have to protest after the race. You have 48 hours to submit the replay file. And most of the time we're giving out championship points, penalties, and you might have race or season suspension depending on how bad the incident was. And of course, this is a league where most drivers are returning drivers for multiple seasons. So assume the best from most of them. Empathize with them. Apologize if you think you have made a mistake. Take the time to watch the replay. Of course, no no swear words and no names calling on the airwaves. And always ask yourself what you could have done different to avoid this incident next time. The process has not changed. So end of the race, you're submitting the protest. I will do an incident replay video that will be available for everyone. Add some comments there, and the stewards have their own replay. They will review the incidents and vote on the outcome. So you might get a penalty, might not get one. And once the outcome is out, I'll update the Discord. And if there's a need for it, I'll do a stewarding review for major incidents to give some pointers. You can always also appeal once the decision is out. No change on the penalty matrix. 3 structure on 3 different penalties, so a warning. So roughly just for registering an error that you made. So there's no penalty points per se. Minor penalty is from 1 to 20 points. We tend to work with increments of 5. And lap 1 incidents are at least 15 points instead of maybe a 10 or a 5. So again, a deterrent for lap 1 winners. And major penalty, again, depending on the severity, the aggression, how many cogs were involved, driver's history. You might have to get there. So that's pretty much it for me today. I hope you enjoy season 4 at PRL, and I hope to see you on track.